No COD points were spent in the making of this video.
Hello everybody! We have a few things on the agenda today. This will not only be a good old fun time Q&A, after all that's done I will go through some stats of what we got at the end of the video. There will be no follow-up breakdown in a second video because it will be a simplified version. I wasn't actually planning on doing a loot breakdown at all because I figured there's no need. Nothing has seemingly changed since last time, and adding everything up is very time consuming. But then of course I saw this thread and other beliefs like it. Many people very convinced that supply drops have been stealth nerfed by Evil Sledgehammer, the word definitely being thrown around again. And of course I lean towards believing that has not happened and that it's easy to feel unlucky and jump on that bandwagon. But hey, I haven't opened anything recently, I really have no idea, so I figured a perfect compromise would be I will just add up every epic, heroic, and weapon that I get to compare to the numbers last time recorded right after the overhaul. That won't be as painful, and I assume that's all most people care about. Like if they stealth nerfed calling cards in favor of charms, who really cares? And I'll also know my average armory credits per drop from the duplicates, which I look forward to finding out. So there will be timestamps below if you want to skip right to that information. Otherwise, hang out, relax, play a game. Last time we did 400, 200 of each. This time we gotta step it up a notch. We're doing 500, and some people are here, of course, to join me for the rewards, all organized on Twitter, same place I always ask for the questions. Let's get to it. Oh, and you'll notice we're hanging out on the beach here, a nice change of scenery. I can open these things anywhere now that I no longer need social score. I did hit that max social rank a couple weeks ago, so I have the fancy title, just like Mr. Space Bounce there, except I'm not level 1000. First question, nice and simple, how tall are you? See, now you guys are getting it. You don't need me to ever do any kind of face reveal thing. You can just use the Q&As to ask questions about my appearance, and eventually you can take all the details to a sketch artist. Boom, there you go. Anyway, I am about 6'4", or more precisely, 194 centimeters tall, so I'm a fairly tall person. Wouldn't want to be any taller. When you get into 6'5" territory, it's like, Jesus, dude, just stop. And then that was followed up by, how old are you? How dare you ask a lady her age? I was thinking of some cheeky way to respond, but there's really no point. I've talked plenty about how far through school I am, so there isn't much mystery. Despite that, I still see people who think I'm like 40 or something. But no, I'm 20. I'll be 21 in a couple months. Not that that means anything here in Canada. All the age-based legal rights are either 18 or 19 for everything. The drinking, the gambling, the moving out, so whatever. 21 is irrelevant. I'm already old as far as the law is concerned. Did you know I was in your lobby once? Well, I may have known at the time, but I would not have known offhand. I have been in thousands of lobbies, but it's cool that you recognized me. It's always awesome when I hear someone get on the mic who recognizes my irrelevant ass. Anyway, I know I didn't need to answer this in the video, but it is a reply on the Q&A thread, so it's fair game. By the way, if I miss something good like an epic variant of a new gun, that is very possible. Just know I will catch it at the end. Do you think that the camos, grips, emblems, and possible face paints are just crappy fillers? Well, a couple thoughts on that. I do think they're crappy filler such that I don't care about getting them at all, but they're not crappy filler in a bad way either, because I don't think they have an effect on your odds of getting the heroic weapons, which is what I do care about, because I'm pretty sure it chooses rarity first, and then chooses an item from the available loot. So if they added a million filler items that were all common and rare and legendary, I wouldn't care about collecting any of them, but it's not like that's diluting the pool of things I actually want. Now, if they added a crap ton of heroic filler, like heroic reticles and camos, that would be annoying, but for the most part they haven't done that. All the reticles and camos have been common and rare, with only a few legendaries. They stopped making more pistol grips, there are only a couple heroic charms, so yeah, I think it's filler, but not in a bad way. Well, I made that more complicated than it had to be. What's your opinion in Thursday? Well, it's Tuesday right now, not Thursday, so I don't know what my opinion will be like in a couple days when I am in Thursday. Ah, my opinion on Thursday. Well, it's a good wholesome day right before Friday. I'd say Thursday is one of my favorite days of the week. I also appreciate how it's pronounced exactly how it is spelled. Wednesday can go fuck itself. Right. Thank you for the compliments, Mr. Zachariah. What would be your perfect COD, and do you have high hopes for Black Ops 4? Well, I don't think I know what I want well enough to design an entire game from scratch. Going through that list though, my favorite setting would be roughly modern times. The gameplay, I'm open to try different things. I am quite a fan of the war mode style though. I'd love to see more like that with the unique objectives and the progression through a larger map. The loot, I just want it to not be intrusive. I don't care that much about whatever random loot you get from luck. The only stuff I find fun to use and show off are the things you get from completing big challenges, which ties into the last thing there, rewards. That is an important part to me. I want a well thought out challenge grind that makes 100% completion impressive but achievable. No terribly thought out challenges standing in the way, and a cool and worthwhile reward that lets everybody know how little of a life you have. No game has gotten that perfect. I would say Black Ops 3 has come the closest with their hero gear and the 100%er animated title. So, do I have high hopes for Black Ops 4 then? Well, I find it much more fun to go through life never having high hopes for anything, and allowing yourself to be pleasantly surprised. But I do hope they can get the rewards part right. I know just before I started doing this, they tweeted out that teaser perks image. Call me crazy, but the colors and the images feel like they fit in pretty well with the theory of a roughly modern era game. Well, I may never get my hopes up, but I am looking forward to learning more, and I'm guessing playing the beta this summer, assuming they do that again, since the Black Ops 3 one was in August, and BO4 comes out a month earlier, so it seems likely. Anyway, thank you for the question. Can we share the loot llama, please? Sorry, but any Fortnite references are going to fall completely flat on me. I have no idea. What is your favorite variant, and which do you want the most? I'd say my favorite has become the Vafa oil can too. I like the black basket weave pattern, and putting chrome on it doesn't look bad like with some variants. If I had to pick a second place, it would not be the Cook 2 that I just got, but I guess I'll take it. It would be the Lee Enfield Greased 2. I like that one as well. As for one I want, I'm pretty happy with what I have, and I don't know the names of many of them until I get them. I guess it would be one of the new weapons, so how about the Type 38 Ronin 2, because that's one I actually know the name of offhand, and it looked pretty cool. Next we got a question in a message from Fuzzywig, and he did say I could throw his name in. If you've been around for a long ass time, like back in the Woodycraft days, you might recognize the admin Fuzzy, but I guess most of you don't know what I'm talking about. He says he's a year out from graduating college and was wondering how I balance exam season with still playing the game, and what do you know, I thought I didn't recognize that. Not exactly the Ronin 2, but good to know we have a Type 38 variant. Anyway, sounds like we're in about the same spot. Next year is also my last year, all going well. Achieving that balance requires a few things. Nice, M1A1 variant, add that to the collection. Of course, efficiency is very important. It helps to have no interest in a social life, and it also really helps if you don't care about your grades a whole lot. The secret comes out. You see, I'm really just making sure I pass. If I get 90% on an exam, then I did a bad job because I clearly spent much more time preparing than was necessary. Sliding in with a clean 55% takes true talent. Okay, I am partially kidding. There are some subjects that maybe you actually take an interest in and want to learn about. Or maybe you actually care about your grades if you're applying to a grad school or want to apply for a competitive position where they might actually check your grades. And also, to be clear, this was not my mentality in high school. I did much better there, both because it was much easier to do well without effort, and because I needed the high grades. How else would I have been accepted to the university in the first place? But now, I don't plan to do anything where my grades would matter a whole lot. So if there's a huge time-consuming project worth 20% of the term, and it isn't a passing requirement, I might just not do that at all. One time I missed a software engineering midterm that was worth 15% of the year, and that worked out just fine. That wasn't on purpose, though. I thought it was on a different day. Anyway, I spend just enough time studying to get by. Usually that means poring over the material 1 or 2 days before the final exam, and not studying at all for the midterm exams. Meanwhile, with World War II, I just do the daily orders and contracts as quickly as I can. I treat that like it's mandatory for some unhealthy reason. This recent April final season wasn't too bad for me. The winter one was definitely much crazier when they were releasing new Winter Siege weapon orders that required the 30 or 50 games played, and I did every single one of those on the first day they were available because we had no confirmation they would loop back around. Meanwhile, I was desperately putting lecture slides on text-to-speech, trying not to fail that stuff. I think I've mentioned that before, though. This time was okay. I had an exam on the 10th, and then at the same time they released that huge rebalance and DLC 2 and the paint shop and all that, so I got home, covered that right away, then right back to preparing for 2 back-to-back super tough exams on the 16th. That's when I made that cheat sheet that I tweeted out because I was so proud of it. Right after that, Blitzkrieg happened, made a video for that, and then I could relax a bit until the last exam on the 25th. What is going on? Nothing's happening. I broke the game. Well, okay, anyway, yeah, it was an easy upper-level astronomy elective, so I didn't need to review that too much. I can afford to take... there we go. Alright. I guess we'll try to get this going again. I can afford to take 4 courses instead of 5 per semester, because I take 2 in the summer terms, which is much easier to manage overall. We're going again. Alright. So, anyway, I don't think I've been very helpful at all. Your answer is that I'm not a great student. Considering how my strategy revolves around passing, not necessarily doing all that well. But I haven't failed anything yet, so it's working for me. If you have higher goals set for yourself, I mean, it just comes down to work ethic and time management, really no secret to it. Sounds like you're doing fine though, going into your final year. Best of luck. Okay, ass or tits, it had to come up eventually, but of course I cannot pick between these 2 inferior selections. As a man of culture, I am a thighs man. If you are not also among the enlightened, I pity you, sweet child. What was your favorite subject in school? Well, I never really liked much of anything. I just kind of cruised. Early on, I guess it was a math or a science type thing, because I found those easy to understand. There was a right and wrong answer. In high school, I guess my favorite classes were all the foods electives. I'm sure there was a time when that would have been considered an embarrassing, feminine thing to take, but it was mostly dudes in those classes. As we get another heroic M1A1, I think that's all 3 of them now. I already had the body snatcher too. But yeah, who wouldn't take those courses? It's free food and no work for an easy over 95%. I took like 6 of those things. There was foods 9 through 12, international foods 11 and 12. We cooked some cool stuff, but I didn't really learn much because I already cooked food for myself at home most of the time. The main thing I learned is how cooking disabled some people are. Like if you're lost, just follow the recipe. Although my group mostly just messed around and everything turned out fine. Because it's not rocket science. Do I notice your quality content comments? Well, thanks. I know Q&As especially are high quality, high production value content. I have seen those comments. I would not have made the connection to know they were you. But yeah, I do see just about every comment on every video. YouTube.com/comments is a wonderful thing that shows every comment on every one of my videos. And it's in my frequent bookmarks that I pop open like a dozen times a day. So I see everything. Cool Ranch or Nacho Cheese Doritos? Well, hold on a minute. Only an epic again, but that's a variant of the Sterling. Thank you very much. 2 weapons down as people jump around in the background. I guess I'd have to go with Nacho Cheese, because I've probably only had the Cool Ranch like twice, and I can't even picture what it tastes like right now. I think I remember thinking it was good, but I don't know. Not a Doritos connoisseur. Finally, if I've seen Infinity War, what do I think? I have not seen it, so no opinion there, and no spoilers here, don't worry. I don't care if somebody spoils it for me. And out of all the Marvel movies, what is my favorite? I have actually been watching a bunch of them recently, just in the past few months while I work on stuff, because I had only seen like a third of them. I don't follow it that closely. If I had to pick a favorite, I'd say maybe the first Iron Man. The second one was okay, the third one was kind of bad, but the first one was fun, I thought. Let's go with that. Moving right along, what's my ranking for some COD games? Yeah, we've done some COD ranking stuff before. I guess never split up by campaign and multiplayer. So real quick then, for campaign I would have Modern Warfare 2, then 1, then 3, and then Black Ops 1 and 2 and 3. For multiplayer, based off fun I had, not necessarily how good the game was on a technical level, I would have Modern Warfare 2, then 1, then Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, and then Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 3. Pretty soft on the ordering on some of those, towards the end especially, but that's a rough feeling of it, and I'm sure only 1% of people agree with me because there are so many permutations of those 6 games, so now everyone is mad at me. Geez, thanks for the evil question. What was the first game I ever played, and have I played any of those? I haven't played any Mario Sunshine games. I played Mario 64 and Galaxy, but not Sunshine. Smash Bros, I played some Melee and some Brawl, and it's a no on the Crash Bandicoot, the Spyro, or the Arkham series. My parents weren't too fond of me wasting time in front of a screen. Gaming of any kind was actively discouraged, so we didn't own many consoles at all. Most early games I played were on PC or at friends' houses. Speaking of which, as for the first game I ever played, it would have to be some late 90s edutainment PC game. The earliest one I remember was Treasure Cove, because it had a dope soundtrack. I'm totally gonna grab some gameplay from it, because if I can explode just one person's brain, that would be hilarious. In a similar vein, there was also Treasure Mountain and some other stuff like that. Also, I did ask my parents about this question. One of the earliest games my mother remembers was James Discovers Math, which was more just interacting with stuff about numbers, hardly a game, but there you go, there's your answer. Okay, Activision puts you 100% in charge of the next COD after BO4. You get to make every single decision about the game. My god, that's a lot of work! And another sawed-off, yay, might look better than the Crusader 2. But yeah, geez, I better be getting 100k a year too. What kind of game would you design? What would you do with the loot boxes and DLC? How would you attract more people? Well, holy crap, that's really difficult. I wouldn't want to be 100% in charge because I would definitely ruin it. I would want to surround myself with other capable individuals, and hopefully I'd have access to tons of market research because what I want probably isn't what everybody wants. That said, I know I'm messing around with your question. If I were designing my ideal game, it would be roughly modern era, have maps in the spirit of older CODs, not the 3-lane competitive stuff that makes it feel stale and confined and terrible. I'd want to make sure the progression system is rewarding and doesn't suck, most of all. If nothing else, I think I would be good at getting that part right. And hey, a heroic MG81, that's a nice upgrade, even though it looked kinda ugly. Anyway, I could be here all day and night listing things off because I can't describe every aspect of my ideal game from scratch. I'll just answer what you have in the question. Loot boxes and DLC, I think you gotta pick one or the other. The best system to me would be purchasable cosmetic content and free DLC maps and support. That helps bring people in, keep people interested, and doesn't fracture up the player base based on who buys it and who doesn't. I don't see COD completely adapting the free-to-play model when tons of people are still willing to buy the game, but my god, that player base would be huge, and if they really do start phasing out the campaigns, it's much more possible that we see a reduced price in the future to get more people in. Anyway, it's much easier to critique what someone else has done and suggest ways to improve it than it is to design an entire game from scratch. Yikes. Favorite zombies mode? Well, maybe this isn't what you mean by mode, but the most fun I had with zombies was in Black Ops 1. That was the golden age for me personally. Had a ton of fun with friends playing Kino and Ascension and Shangri-La and all those fun times. I knew all those Easter eggs. Zombies were fairly easy to train, there were fun weapons and perks, and best of all, the Easter eggs were cool and unique, but optional. Solving stupid convoluted puzzles was not the focus of the entire damn game. I know I've been down this rant hole before, but I played that one match of World War II zombies recently, and surviving seemed very easy, maybe too easy. But I'm hearing this guy on the mic talking about finding these parts to assemble this weapon, and then he was like, okay, I activated this thing, now we need to kill zombies in this area, and count how many times this happens, then do the same thing over in this other spot and 4 other spots, and count those. He was like getting the digits to crack the code to a safe. At many points, he had to stop and watch a YouTube tutorial. Why does every zombies map now require you to memorize a YouTube tutorial before you play it? Nothing about that is fun to me. And Treyarch isn't immune either. It was the same in BO3, with that 10 minutes of swinging all around you had to do with a crawler on wave 3 or whatever just to get the power on efficiently. I know I have no idea what I'm talking about, and any zombies guys out there want to punch me in the face. I'm just not into it anymore. The transit lava in BO2 was annoying, and then they completely lost me when the entire mode became about memorizing how to solve a puzzle and trying to get the random idiots you connect with to cooperate. Zombies talk, there you go. Can you drive? Yes, I can drive. I took a test, I passed it, I can drive. I rarely ever drive though, cause traffic is terrible, and the public transportation here is clean and great and awesome, and also free with the tuition I have to pay, so yeah. Wait, I'm getting something here. Apparently I mentioned that traffic is terrible, and somebody in LA wants to tell me that I don't even know what bad traffic is. Okay, thanks for letting me know. The one thing you hate most about World War II. Well, at one point it was the map design. Still kind of hate that, but I like war and shipment, so it's fine. Recently, what I'm hating most is the way contracts for game modes count down in every game mode. I want to take all the DOM and KC and TDM contracts and play shipment and ground war, but I frickin' can't, because if I get the wrong mode too many times, suddenly the easy contract just got really hard. So, unless you continuously dashboard when the map is loading up with the wrong mode, which takes a lot of time, you're forced to play the regular old playlist, which I find very boring and annoying. If they could make them not count down if you're playing a different mode, that'd be great. Or, I would really prefer if game mode were just a thing left to personal preference, and contracts can focus on challenging you to use certain weapons or certain divisions, or do the stuff like diving, crouching, prone, headshots, whatever. Game mode contracts are getting me pissed off. Kind of regret going with that though, because honestly the one biggest thing I dislike about the game is the lackluster completion rewards. I've talked endlessly about that, I guess, but the Chrome letdown, the max social rank letdown, nothing for maxing all the divisions, even though that only took a month, not much for master prestiges, although they did say they're working on prestige rewards. There's no really cool title or cool clothing I want to work towards. Animated titles are completely not special at all, like every single rare title out of drops is animated now. Just not a lot of good challenge loot. Even Advanced Warfare had that gold and diamond camo completion gear. Pretty dumb looking, but there's nothing like that in this game. Kinda lame. What are my plans for the summer, and if I have a lot more free time, you'd recommend getting a Switch for Odyssey alone. I did watch some streams of people playing Odyssey, definitely looked fun, but I think watching it replaced playing it for me. Sadly, I don't have that kind of time to sit down and enjoy it myself. I may get a Switch one day, but it'll probably be for a Pokemon thing. As for other plans for the summer, well, I'll keep making the videos and play it by ear for the most part. But also in a couple weeks I am taking 2 summer courses, which are sped up 2 times, so that's kind of like 4 courses again. Yeah, right back to that I guess, until July when I'll really be free of it for a couple months. Did you ever play the earliest Medal of Honor games, like Frontline and so on? Or some of the earliest CoD games? The only thing from that list I have played a little bit of was Medal of Honor Frontline, interestingly enough. I didn't play many early console games because of the aforementioned parents not being a fan of gaming thing. The earliest CoD I played was CoD 4. And the only reason I played a little bit of Frontline was because it came for free with the 2010 Medal of Honor, which I did actually play quite a bit of. I loved the combat mission mode, which was actually exactly like war mode, but on a bigger scale, and in the Frostbite engine. So naturally it was a lot of fun, but Frontline I only played a tiny bit of to try to get some of the trophies, and I barely remember it, so sorry about that. And have I played any Spyro games? Yeah, sadly no, so the remaster will not tickle any nostalgia bones. I'm sorry, I wish I could relate to more of these games. I was held down as a child away from the video games. Maybe for my own good, I don't know. How are the top 3 of a war mode game determined? Why are your questions always like this, man? Always something straightforward and about the game. I'm not 100% sure if they're sincere, or if you just think it's funny to ask something about the game. You know, if you want to ask a question like this, you can ask me anytime. You don't have to wait for a Q&A thread. I'll just reply to you. I think I just saw my 2 favorite variants go by. I just got dupes for the oil can and the greased back to back. Anyway, to answer your question, I'm fairly sure it is just the second war game that gets used in the top 3 at the end. Not ideal, but the top 3 is kind of irrelevant anyway. What are your hopes for Black Ops 4? Kinda touched on that stuff. I keep my hopes low, but I'd love a modern era game with damn good challenges and completion rewards. And also, how would I feel about season pass holders getting DLC weapons? I'm fine with it, just like I'd be fine with it for World War II. I just think it wasn't needed in this game, but it seems like a lot of people want it, so go for it, assuming they can still be earned in-game as well, so they aren't behind that paywall. That would kinda suck. What do you think of BO4 coming to the Switch, and do I have one? Well, I can answer both by saying I don't have one, so if BO4 is on the Switch, that doesn't really affect me. Just like COD games that have been on the Wii in the past. I guess it's cool on the Switch to have it be mobile like that, but if there's no crossplay, and I don't know how there would be, I don't expect a thriving BO4 Switch community, just like PC, so yeah, I don't know if that would be worth the buy. Hello there! Do you speak French? Law dictates if you do, you should answer in French. c'est juste. Bon, je ne parle pas très bien français, mais je peux faire semblant si je préparais quelque chose à l'avance en utilisant un traducteur. Je vais m'arrêter maintenant pour que les gens n'aient pas à lire les sous-titres. Yeah, no, I don't speak fluent French at all, as you can tell by that being a bit butchered even though I had it to read. But being Canadian and being forced to learn it, I know some key words, I know a bit about the pronunciation. I did take an intensive French program in grade 6, because why not? Everything was easy back then anyway. It just meant that 2/3 of the day was in French, and it allowed me to skip a grade of high school French, which was awesome, because I kinda hated it. So I guess I learned a bit more because of that. And plans for after university, I really have no idea, and it's pretty scary. That's a lie, I have some ideas, but no actual plans. I'll figure something out. And that's a nice heroic machine pistol, finally a weapon that I didn't already have a heroic for. That's another one checked off the list. Finally, would I consider doing a gaming setup video? Yeah, for sure, it sounds like fun. I've showed some of my setup in videos here and there, like most recently that random airsoft video showed most of what I'm working with in the background. As for an actual tour of everything, not that it's that impressive, I don't know when I might do something like that, but if it came time to move out or something, I would absolutely do it then, even if just to document it so I can look back on it one day. Do you think the war game mode can transfer over to BO4, or will this be the last time we see something like it? Well, I don't expect to see it in BO4, but I also don't think it'll be the last time we see it. It definitely can transfer over to other games, no problem. Like I was just saying, that Medal of Honor game had the combat mission mode that worked just like it. Just the objective to objective thing is pretty basic. I don't expect it in BO4 though, because they probably wanted to see how it was received before putting it in the next game, and if they really are working on a battle royale type thing, that will probably take the stage as the unique mode tied to BO4. And in the future after BO4, I don't know if we'll see it again, because as much as I like it, and I see plenty of people saying war is the only reason I still play, I love it, it's great, there are also all those people who said, only 9 maps, this game sucks, only 9 maps, when the game launched with 12, plus Karantan, but people who don't play war just ignore those 3 maps that I imagine took more time and effort to make, just to complain about the decreased variety in core modes, which is fair, I guess. If that's all you want to play, then that would be your opinion, but I hated seeing that, because that just makes it more likely that we won't see a war mode again. Anyway, if I'm not mistaken, we have reached the halfway point. That was 250 commons. My god, these take forever. We're only halfway. Onward with the rares, if I can find a place to call this in. To finish that thought, yeah, if war means developing separate maps, which it kind of has to in order to be interesting, that makes it seem less likely. I'm imagining putting, like, little bomb and hardpoint objectives on a regular map with some of those red border zones. It just wouldn't work. So yeah, too bad if we never see it again, but maybe something new and even better will come along. Thoughts on combat flight games like Ace Combat War Thunder? Ace Combat 7 may be coming out in 2018. Well, sorry not to share your enthusiasm, but that is another genre of game I have not touched. I really know nothing about them. I'm sure they're much more fun than the Operation Husky dogfighting with actually leading your shots and more realistic flight and all that. Or I guess maybe modern aircraft. But either way, I don't see it being my personal cup of tea. Glad you enjoy it though. Hopefully Ace Combat 7 is everything you hope it to be. Pretty related question to a moment ago, do I want war mode in future CODs and how would I change it? Yeah, absolutely. As far as changes, I mean, pretty much all that would need to change is whatever needs to be to fit the theme of the new game. There are little things I'd change about the World War II war mode, like some map design things and some changes in how score is awarded, and add some more objective types, but all of that would come naturally, I think, with whatever the theme of the new game is. But yeah, I'd love to see that. What music do you listen to? I don't listen to very much music, usually just in final studying season or sometimes working out. I guess in my trying to be an edgy teen days, I had my Green Day and Simple Plan CDs and all that. I was also raised around a lot of classic rock, so I like plenty of that. But these days, all I really listen to are video game soundtracks from tons of games. Everything from Modern Warfare 2 to Mario Kart. It's great for studying because there's nothing to sing along to. But it always has a strong nostalgic effect, especially when the RuneScape OST comes out. The whole time I'm studying, I'm just wishing I could could sink back into a simpler time and play that again. So right after I'm done with the exams, I usually have to go play RuneScape for a few days straight to get that out of my system. Well, I took that question to an odd place, probably not the direction you were expecting, but there you go, mostly soundtracks. Moving along, how come you don't say A? Well, I do sometimes. I guess it's always on purpose, though, not just a natural part of talking thing. I think the Canadian stereotypes are more of an Eastern and Maritime thing for the most part. Don't hear much of that around here. Will I play some other games this summer? For sure, probably some PUBG, and I'll try to stop playing goddamn RuneScape, and hopefully some Black Ops 4 beta at some point. Ideas on cosmetic stuff. Like the face paints, and you'd like to change the announcer voice to female. Well, if they wanted to sell announcer voice packs again, that'd be cool, like I know Ghost did, and maybe Infinite Warfare, I think. I imagine that wouldn't be a supply drop thing, though, a bit too much effort to just throw it in there. They'd have to sell it separately. But as for other supply drop cosmetics like face paints, I'm definitely on board with that idea, sounds good to me. Although I'm not exactly excited about any of it, unless I can unlock a super cool face paint through some really tough challenges. Ooh, nice bat there. Again, only an epic, but that thing looks scary. And another weapon obtained. As far as other cosmetic ideas, my main idea that I've always thought about, I'm surprised we still haven't seen any cosmetic score streak customization. When can I custom paint my glide bomb? When can I make my carpet bombing plane plated gold for getting 1,000 carpet bomber kills, huh? Nice, I think that's my new charm. That can replace the mogul top hat thing. But yeah, as unrealistic as it is, I'm down for some gold-plated aircraft streaks. We're on CoD 14 and that hasn't happened yet. Anyway, do I find programming not boring because you hated it? Well, all of the programming I've done for coursework, it's not like I've enjoyed any of that either, especially working in a group with a GitHub, dealing with merge conflicts. At least for me, there isn't much fun to be had in programming for someone else. But that's the way a lot of things are. I imagine editing videos for someone else wouldn't be much fun either. And yeah, with programming, it's just smashing your head against a wall trying to solve a problem, until eventually you have a breakthrough, and at least in that moment it's incredibly rewarding, and you can congratulate yourself on how much of a genius you are, and then along comes the next problem. Yeah, it's not that fun. However, when you're working on a passion project, putting together a little game or something, thinking of something new you want to try to do, and learning how to do it, that can be really fun. I remember in a grade 12 information technology course that my high school offered, it covered some Java basics, and the second half of it was just free working on any game we wanted to make. It didn't have to be original. I made a game where the mouse controls a little fish, and you have to move around to eat the smaller fish that swim by, while avoiding the bigger fish, and eating the smaller fish makes you bigger. You win when you're bigger than everything, and you just end up inflating to a massive size. Simple concept, not original, maybe you've played some dumb Flash game like that, but I did a pretty good job of it, and figuring all that out was a lot of fun. So it depends on what you're doing, and also some people are just not going to like it. Might not be your thing. Just got the Type 5 though, awesome. That's 4 epic variants of the new weapons so far, ignoring the dupes that is. Not complaining. And it looks like final question here, why do I hate stand-up wipers? A reference to a previous Q&A. Well, I don't hate them, I only judge them harshly for being the complete degenerates that they are. When you're sitting down, your asshole is easily able to be wiped. All you need to do is lean forward. If you stand up, you're either closing your ass prematurely or doing a really dumb looking squat. There's no reason to do that at all, and you look like a fool. How many other easy things in life have you been utterly unable to grasp, you complete failure? So next time you standing up wipe, just take a good hard look at yourself and everything you've done that has led up to you air squatting there like a jackass with crap on your butt. That's right, sit back down. Alright, on that note, we're done with the questions. How about that? If I skipped yours, then it means I already answered it and had nothing more to say. Well, since opening 500 drops takes forever, I'll now use the magic of editing to speed things up in the background, maybe with the good old 9 at a time technique. Maybe even more, I don't know, but I still have to show every drop on screen so that it's there as proof in case anybody doubts my data collection breakdown thing at the end and wants to do it themselves for some reason. Well, I don't know how long I should be talking here, but I'll cut myself off whenever we get to the end. I wonder if I can get to 500,000 credits. I think it's possible. You definitely get more back from these rares, and I'm starting to see just mostly duplicates at this point. I must have most of what's in this game by now. And just like that, we're all done. Out of all the footage I sped through, the cool things were this epic American M2 variant, and then the incredible, heroic ITRA Burst Belladonna, and then over 12 minutes of absolutely nothing I care about until getting yet another heroic Type 100 near the end. So I'll switch back to some footage of going through the collections and the weapons and all that, and then it'll be time to break down the stats at the end. Alright, time to clean out the rest of this junk. We're gonna try a zombie supply drop for the first time ever. And it looks like you get some normal multiplayer stuff, and then 3 more zombies items? Interesting. So is it always 2 multiplayer, and then that card flips and it gives you 3 more zombies things? Fascinating. Yeah, it looks like it's working the same way for these. I don't know what any of the zombie stuff means. But I guess I'll take the 2 multiplayer items. So zombie supply drops are not that bad. Epic. Now for a weapon bribe, which I think only guarantees that there is a weapon. For all I know, it could be some duplicate junk. But it's an ITRA. Alright. If I didn't already get that heroic, that would be quite the find. Now I have a resistance supply drop. I honestly don't even know when I got this. Or why I still have it. But okay. And a resistance bribe as well. I really don't know where these came from. But I have a few more resistance items now, I guess. Thanks. Now for a couple uniform bribes. Yippee! I'm glad I get to guarantee myself some uniforms. It's exactly what I wanted. Getting a bit more interesting now with these Blitzkrieg bribes. I saw a bunch of confusion and controversy over whether or not these are duplicate protected. So far, no Blitzkrieg duplicates, although that completed that collection. And that is a duplicate, but I might be done all the collections. I might own every Blitzkrieg item. That's a duplicate as well. And this is giving me 2. And they are both duplicates, but I don't think there was any issue there for me. Because the first 2 weren't dupes, and then after that I think I just had every Blitzkrieg item. Alright, time for this charm bribe. I don't know why this needs to exist. Who has ever said, I really need to guarantee that I get a common charm in this crate? Yeah, thanks. Same for this helmet bribe. Oh boy! I'm so glad I get guaranteed a helmet. I think this is worse than a normal crate. But it did give me the fedora, so I can't ask for much more than that. And finally, the only type of special drop that is actually worth something, the heroic weapon bribe, starting off with an SVT Shackman. That looks better than the SOL, I think. And a fortitude shovel, no thanks. I already have the flash, and I'll be using other melee weapons most of the time. The duck soup, alright, I know a lot of people like that. I think I'm a bigger fan of the snake and the thrive, so no big deal. The last one's a winter one. So it is the Sten, very happy with that one. That's another one checked off the list on the road to having 1 heroic of every weapon. Alright, we're done here. Thank you for coming, everyone. That's awesome. Yeah, now'd be a good time to open your drops if you want. While everyone's around. Nice backflip. Time to check in on these collections. Do I need to spend any of my hard-earned 500,000 credits? And it looks like no. Yeah, as I expected. It felt like I got these things multiple times over. So, even if I didn't get variants of every DLC gun in that opening, it's not gonna be much trouble to unlock these collections. And how about these, Operation Overlord collections? How many of these can we check off the list? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not bad at all. The collections for the new weapons, it looks like, are not quite done, which makes sense because there were no bribes to help complete the last couple of items. But it wouldn't be that expensive for these things, so if I didn't get other variants of them, I guess I would be unlocking these right now, but they're not limited time, so I'll just leave them there, no big deal. The M1914 Savior looks kind of similar to the Battle Watch, but with a medical symbol on it. And the Cook 2 thankfully has better iron sights than the other 2. The M1A1 Bite the Dust 2, that's gotta be the best M1A1. It's even very clean looking with chrome, which I usually don't like as much on the black and gold themed weapons. And here's the Bug Juice 2, kinda funky looking. Also not bad though. Here's this SVT Shackman, which I actually really like, wow. That gold seems shinier than any other black and gold themed variant so far. I had to see it with the gold. Oh my god. Look at that thing. And I mean, it's not bad with the diamond or the chrome, but the solid gold looks pretty funny. And only an epic, but here's this Type 5 Clockwork. That looks pretty good. The slow firing, no recoil Garand. And of course the epic American M2. Not bad. Here's the kinda ugly collections variant of the ITRA, compared to the epic Femme Fatale. Pretty nice looking. And then the heroic Belladonna, which I don't even know if it looks that much better. But it has that inspect, I guess. The Duck Soup, not my favorite. The Checked Out 2, which is pretty much the same thing as the Righteous, except black and gold. Ah yes, here's this Trigger Happy 2, which I was wondering if it would compete with my precious Oil Can 2, and it looks very good. But I don't know. I don't know. So I go back and forth on the black and gold theme versus the kind of wooden and silver theme. And of course the Sten Rooted 2, very happy with that. The collections variant of the Sterling, so I'm sure many people have seen that. And then this Royal Decree variant, which I got 3 times for some reason. Got a bunch of MG42s, here's that Rolling Thunder, which is probably the best one. I do like the Devil's Piano as well, and then the Zipper has that industrial theme, which I'm rarely a big fan of. It's usually between the other two. Here's that heroic MG81 that I think I got a few times, and it's kind of ugly, but I guess I'll take the 5% XP. Here's that Black Hornet Type 38 variant I was lucky to get pretty early on, otherwise I would have had to spend some credits, oh no. Here's the Domino, compared to the Crusader. Wow, the Domino is much bigger. Alright, I like that. On to the secondaries, got this heroic machine pistol, happy about that. And the Fortitude, yeah, not really that excited about that. Combat knife, don't care. I got the Thunder like 5 times. And of course, the bats. This collection one, kind of odd looking. And then the triple, this epic variant, which looks absolutely brutal. Oh yeah, put some ruby on there. This bloody, spiky bat. Jeez. I feel bad using this thing. And then all this other junk to go through that I don't need to show. But I have pretty much everything now. So it's no wonder that my duplicate rate was getting so high. So this is fairly interesting. The amount of XP I have here is much higher than last time right after the overhaul. Back then it was only a couple hours each. So the fact that I opened 100 more drops this time doesn't account for it. I didn't feel like the drops were nerfed or especially bad, but something has clearly changed, at least with the XP. I have my theories, but I'll review the footage, and I think I'll end up also tracking the number of XP drops in addition to the number of weapons. So I'll do all that, and then cut back with the breakdown. Now we can finally come to taking a look at the stats. I tracked epic and heroic items, as well as the number of XP bonuses and the number of weapons. Comparing this to the table from last time, which was recorded March 24th, a couple weeks after the overhaul when everyone was still saying things are great, we actually see that in common drops, the percentage of epics and heroics went up. I'm only comparing percentage, of course, because I did open more drops this time, but epic went from 12% to 13.4, and heroic from 3.2 to 3.5. So a 10% fluctuation, not the biggest deal, but so far things are better, not worse. Looking at item type though, we do see a decrease in weapons from 7% to 6, while the number of XP bonuses doubled from 2.5 to 5.2. The way I can try to explain this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember getting any of the legendary and epic XP bonuses last time, only the commons and the rares. It seems like they re-added those once again, and because that takes an epic spot, that could result in a decrease of epic weapons. Nothing too major though, and at least weapon XP doesn't feel completely useless now that there are more weapon levels to grind out. And looking at the rare drops, this might just be RNG at work because there was an odd decrease of epics, but a fairly substantial increase in heroics. So I wouldn't say that's a net bad thing either. The XP drops in the rares stayed about the same as last time though, while the weapons were once again lower. Kinda hard to draw a great conclusion there with randomness always playing a part. It seems like things were tweaked a bit, and it seems like there may be fewer weapons as a result, but more heroics, and overall not huge changes, so nothing I would freak out about. Then I did also record every heroic item and every DLC weapon that I got from the commons and the rares, which made for a crazy list that nobody wants to read, but over here I did simplify it a bit. I took out a bunch of the heroic items and weapons to only see how many DLC weapons I got. From this one opening session, I got 27 DLC weapons. If I minus a couple that came from the bribes here, just say 25 DLC weapons in 500 drops. That's about 5%. A 5% chance in every drop that you get a DLC weapon doesn't sound that bad to me. But of course that doesn't mean that it's one that you want. Most of these things were ones that I already have. I didn't need 4 extra combat knives, or 5 extra MG81s, or 3 epic sterlings. But overall, I'd say the odds aren't that terrible. Obviously, there is luck involved, and I don't like the supply drop system. I don't want to advocate for it, but I'd like to keep people's complaints grounded in reality. I don't think I was especially lucky here. When the sample size gets up to 500 drops, you're going to get most of the weapons. Or even if I didn't, the 134,000 credits I got from those 500 drops might help me out with unlocking all of them. I averaged out to 208 credits back per common and 330 back per rare. That is a good amount higher than last time when I got 155 per common and 241 per rare. Again, hard to draw a conclusion on the cause of that. Obviously, my duplicate rate naturally should get higher as I get closer to owning every item in the game, so I don't know if the duplicate rate was actually made higher, like some of the comments on that thread claimed. But either way, it doesn't seem that bad. My duplicate rate did feel high, I'll give you that, but looking at the list of items, I still got plenty of new things. Interestingly, the rare drops seemed to contain a lot more duplicates. No clue if that actually means anything, aside from the fact that I opened them second. Also, in some ways, duplicates are a good thing. If you only care about new weapons and don't want to rely on luck, then the credits give you that guaranteed path to new weapons. Either way, hopefully those stats reassure you that things are not that bad. I maintain my position of thinking that earning all the new weapons is not difficult. I know me playing for 2.5 hours every day is excessive, but also the number of credits I've earned is excessive, and I still have another 400 drops that I didn't open. So you don't have to play anywhere near as much as I do. If you save up a few hours a week, should do it. By no means do I think that's unfair. With that, I think we're done here. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.